Did you know that there were white slaves in America? I grew up hearing stories about slavery, but they were always about black people. And I'm not talking about the ones where black people were free, but they had to pay a fee to work for white people. I'm talking about the ones where black people were literally property. But it turns out that wasn't the only time. There was another time in American history when white people were enslaved. It was during the early colonial period. And if you don't know what that is, it's when white Europeans were brought to America as indentured servants. Basically, they were slaves, but not for life. They would work for a set amount of years, usually 7, and then they would be free. But it turns out that didn't really matter, because after they finished their service they were pretty much screwed. The thing is, though they weren't black, so they didn't have the same rights as white people. But still, this day, no one cared about the history of this white slaves. So even though they were free, they were still considered property. They couldn't own anything. They couldn't make contracts. They couldn't even leave their state without permission. It gets worse though. If they did try to leave, they could be put back into slavery for up to 10 years. And if they were married, their wives and kids would be considered property, too. So basically, they were free, but they were still kind of enslaved. The worst part is that this went on for a really long time. I mean, we're talking over 100 years, and it wasn't until the 18th century that this practice finally ended. But the thing is, most people don't know about this because it was kind of swept under the rug. For a long time, historians didn't really talk about it, and the ones that did were mostly white historians who tried to downplay it. But now, thanks to social media, more and more people are learning about this, and it's a really important part of American history that we can't ignore. I mean, we all know that slavery was bad, but it's easy to forget that it happened here in the United States. And it's even easier to forget that it wasn't just black people who suffered. If you want to learn more about this, I'll put some resources in the description. But for now, just remember this. White people were enslaved in America for a really long time. And even after they were technically free, they were still treated like garbage. That's all for today. See you next time.